Okay, this is Endyawschurch at gmail.com. This is August 2nd. It's around 1:10, 1:15. This is 1 Caryl Avenue, Yonkers, New York, apartment 6. This is Richard Hobbs. I supposedly live here. The landlord and the management here hasn't for 4 years provided me with things I need. There's hardly ever, if ever, been any heat at night in the winter. The heat goes off around 12, and then around, I don't know, 8, 7, 6, 5 in the morning, something like that, it turns back on. That's against the law, but no complaining about it has ever done anything to get it fixed. This is my refrigerator. I have only one shelf in the refrigerator, and you can see, maybe you can see here that the water, that it's wet. I don't know why. The refrigerator doesn't work right because there's only one shelf. It's not packed, but if I had 3 shelves, I could put in it what I want and manage it and handle it. The way it is, I got to throw everything in on top of everything, and I lose a lot of food. The money that you spend to help get me food stamps because I'm poor. Now you see, when I try to open this refrigerator at the top, it's very hard to do because you can see that it's producing snow. It's supposed to be a frost-free refrigerator, but it's not. It's not working right. And everything's frozen in here. That's good. But the things in the bottom part of the refrigerator aren't frozen. They're not even refrigerating right. The thing is overworking because you can't, the bottom part, the things are well, they're not real cold. I have it up to if I put it to the highest, or I don't, it doesn't work. It hasn't worked. Besides that, this isn't a refrigerator for me. I'm very, very poor, which means I have to go to the store and I have to buy bargains. Now you see the cheese, I only eat certain foods. I'm very particular about what I can eat because of my diet. And this cheese here, these provolone cheeses, it's hard to run the camera and to do this. These provolone cheeses, I buy them, I get them for $3.99 a piece, which that makes it about $7.98 a pound, or a half pound each. And I only eat, I try not to eat cheese, I do not eat pasteurized milk or pasteurized milk products. The only cheeses I'll eat are cultured cheeses. Now, according to the label on that product that I showed you, it's cultured. So when I go down to Jack's, which is the only place I can get them for $3.99, I buy a lot because I need them. I can't keep paying to go down there back and forth. I gotta use Accessoride. It's complicated because I'm in a wheelchair. And here's my sink. I'm going to show you my sink. You see there's plaster in the sink. The ceiling is leaking, and mildew or rot comes through the wall, and you can see I'm going up. Now you can see the ceiling above this. It's leaking. It's got water coming into it from above, and it comes into this apartment. And I'm supposed to live with this sink. I'm supposed to live like this. It's been 5 years. It's been 4 or 5 years. I'm supposed to live like this. This is right. They get paid rent here for years, and they never fix this problem. It's been going on for 5 years. What they do is, if they come in and they fix it, and then just before it's going to be inspected to pass Section 8, they come in and fix it. And then it passes, and then a week or 2 or a month later, it starts leaking again. And I'm in a very tough situation. The Section 8, to begin with, doesn't operate for my benefit to help me, to give me a decent place to live. It functions to do something else. I don't know what it functions for. But the inspection doesn't take into consideration any of my needs. It tells me how my apartment has to be. And if it isn't the way they want it to be, then they say that's a reason they should fail me. And I'll go into that more, but you know, I'm a poor person. I worked all my life as an entertainer. I was very poor when I was working. I always paid into Social Security when I could, not when I could, when I was supposed to file taxes, I did. I went to file them. But the people who run the government is not, the government is not right. It's wrong. It's taking advantage of the people in the country, the individuals, especially anyone who works and pays taxes. And the Democratic Party is mostly responsible for this. That's what they want now. They want to for the black people to live in this ghettos, wherever they are, and be poor. That's what they want. Now it's been over 1860. We had the Civil War, which was supposed to give black people equality to white people. All these laws that you can go to the court and sue someone over if they're discriminating, they all were elected, they were all put into, they were all enacted in the 1860s, in the 70s, by the Republican Party. That's that's the law. But then the Democrats never enforced that law. They still don't. What they do is they figure out one way or another they're going to let black people not enjoy life as much as well as white people. That's what they do. That's their purpose. And now they have it set up so a lot of the black people move to the cities. So where black people live, mostly, where a lot of black people live, people are allowed to not give them a decent place to live and still continue. The Republicans didn't do this. They didn't create it. They tried to stop it. And they want to stop it. The real Republicans, the grand old party, the people who fought and died, the white people who fought and died so black people could enjoy the same liberty that they enjoy. But these people died for nothing because the Democrat has made sure, the Democratic Party's made sure that it doesn't happen. After about 1870, 1875, they came up with segregation, and they found ways. They got the Supreme Court a little bit to go to whatever, and it's the same nonsense then as it is now. All sorts of things that are not right can happen and be done because the government allows it, and it's all around. So I complain to the city, I complain to the federal government, they tell me tell the city, I tell the city, they tell me to call the state they tell and it's just a bunch of people getting paid. But because I'm poor, I don't get any consideration. And that's the same thing for most black people, because there are many more white people who are poor than black. But if you want to target the blacks, you target the poor because they're going to be more of them harmed by it. That's the truth. And for some reason, black people want to elect the Democratic Party and keep them in power. And of course, they pretend they care for the blacks. They pretend it. But they don't do anything to make it better, except whenever the Republican Party the few times the Republican Party gets into power, the Democrats have found ways to create social unrest. First, they started the Civil War. That's the first time. Since then, now they're going to riot in the streets because Donald Trump's not a politician. He is not a politician. That's why they hate him. The Democrats hate him. The Republicans hate him because half the Republicans are now just like Democrats. They're politicians, and they don't care. They just care about being elected in office and being able to stay there. And the reason they are able to do that is because we, the poor people, do not get together. We do not talk to each other. We do not use the legal system to get justice. The Democrats, they pay people to do this. I know all about it. I was deeply entrenched in what they do. And they manipulate things because they don't want Republicans in charge, because Republicans are conservatives and they're against abortion, they're against smoking pot, they're against things that are harmful to the society as a whole. And the Democrats are only interested in whatever they think they can get the large group of people to think that they're for them, that the Democrats are for the people and the Republicans aren't. But that's not the truth. Now, please wake up. Please, everybody, wake up. Go to our website, Endyawschurch@gmail.com. Send us an email. Send an email to letsendyours@gmail.com. Send an email to Poorfortrump@gmail.com. Read the responses you get. Get our number. Join our church. Join our political persuasion. Let's get together and let us, from the bottom up, create a society that doesn't have politicians acting as kings and queens. Look, movie stars are nice. It's wonderful to go watch people in the movies. But that doesn't mean that they know about politics. And that doesn't mean they know about justice. In fact, most of the movies you watch, they use the very things that they pretend they're against in public. They use them in the movies. They have killing and violence. Everything they do isn't what they say. And it's got to come to an end. And I could go on for hour after hour and tell you why the Democrats are pretending to care about blacks, but they have had the lion's share of the control of the government in the cities, in the highly black populated states, and they use that power to abuse the black people. If you don't believe me, go sit in the courtroom in New York City for 3 days or 5 days or for a week like I've done, and listen to how they take poor black boys and put them in jail or get them convicted so they have a criminal record. So when they become men, they can put them in jail using this system. This system puts the police above the blacks, puts everyone above the blacks. It's not really just because they're black, it's because they're poor. But if they're poor and white, they know someone who's white and they're not poor. If you're poor and you're black, you don't know too many people that aren't poor and black. Or you know white people that are poor. And it's not an intended, I don't know what's causing it. I know the devil's causing it. But we've got to stop it. And we don't have to have violence to stop it. What we got to do is get serious about wanting, about being in the democracy. And democracy isn't about voting once every 4 years. It's about being right involved, right in their faces all the time. And there's plenty of us who are black or white, who are poor, who have time. And we can, instead of taking we can use some of our time and make these things be right so that the poor people who are working and not making much and paying taxes can pay less taxes. The people in the news media make $1 million a year. They make $500,000 a year. The people on television are making a fortune off of you because you're poor. Stop listening to them. Stop believing them. Mr. Trump is not, they don't like him because he's not poor, but he's one of us. He doesn't like politicians. He doesn't like politics. He wants the laws to, if we have laws, we should enforce them. If we don't like the law, we should change the law. But we shouldn't do like the Democrats do and have all sorts of laws that they created, and then they don't enforce them equally. And then they use those laws to get more people, they want to get people to come in from Mexico that are Spanish because they think they'll vote for the Democrats, especially when the Democrats let them come in illegally. And the Republicans say, now, hey, wait a minute. You can come in, but line up and do it the right way. Now, if we want the Mexicans to come here and we want to have a free open border, then let's vote and decide that's what we want. But the Democrats had 50 years when they were in charge of the government. At least 50 years in the last 100, the Democrats have had control of all three parts of the government. 75 years they've had two parts. They've never wanted to change the law and make the laws be effective and help black people enjoy freedom and liberty. They've always used the government to enrich themselves individually and as a group to make themselves kings and queens over us. It's time for that to stop. Thank you and goodbye.